Thank you, Emiliana. Good morning. First, I would like to thank the organizers for giving us giving me the opportunity to speak about Reagent banks and kit banks. So, I won't learn you that FMD is one of the diseases having the most economical impact, and that constrains trade, and more particularly in FMD-free countries. And many FMD-free countries invest a lot of resources to prevent and prepare for possible incursions. As you know, vaccination is one of the most efficient measures to prevent and control the disease. And vaccine banks enable rapid implementation of emergency vaccination. And vaccine security is even the main topic of that Congress. So during an FMD emergency, serological testing is required. Maybe, and I should have maybe put that into brackets, but this is not the topic of the talk to discuss that, but to confirm suspect cases, to screen for undisclosed infection, to validate that vaccination has been carried out effectively, mainly by using SP ELISAs, and then to substantiate FMD-free status after an outbreak. So in that case, availability of diagnostics is crucial to the management of an outbreak, and a large number of tests from hundreds of thousands to several millions can be required in a short period of time. So that's why the question of kit Reagent bank or reserve might be or should be part of contingency plans for countries or for a group of countries, or even for Europe, who knows. So there were some previous work done. So I found this one. There might have been others, so sorry if there are other works that I didn't find, but the first one was published by Bernd Haas. The publication date was not mentioned, but I think it was published in 2002 or 2003. At that time, there were even no commercially available kits for foot and mouth disease, and there were also some technical considerations that I think now are not so much relevant, like speaking about plate stability and so on. And there were also another opinion published by the European Commission that gives also interesting ideas and a lot of details. So here in this talk I will give the different options for bank reagents and kit reagents from an industry perspective. So in a few words, so IDVET, we are a French-based company in Montpellier, south of France. We are around 90 people now, and since 2013 we are working in this building. So we are offering a comprehensive range of ELISA and PCR kits, as well as automates and reagents for nucleic acid extraction for the diagnosis of livestock and poultry diseases. Regarding FMD, we are offering a range of, oops, there is a problem here, a range of solid phase blocking ELISA kits for both the NSP and the SP detection. So this one should have been the Asia-1 ELISA that will be released in 2019. The kits have short incubation, so that allow people to deliver same-day results. They are user-friendly, easy to use. There is no freeze-dried reagents. The dilutions buffer are colored and ready to use. Kits have high sensitivity and specificity, and we do have a software that is available and that allows to calculate automatically the results and make the interpretation, so it can be useful for people who don't have a LIMS. So there are two main possibilities. The first one is ready to ship, to maintain ready to ship kits, And the other one is to maintain Reagent banks, so meaning stocks of raw material that were previously produced and quality controlled and qualified that can be used then to produce rapidly kits in case of virus introduction. So first solution, you're ready to ship kits, so means that kits are just on the shelf and just need to be shipped directly to the labs. And the other option also is kits that only need assembling before shipping, meaning that all kit components have been previously produced and quality control as well, and we just have to assemble, to pick up and assemble all the components to the kits. So in that case, for the bank mobilization process, then we can, on the first day, ship the kits that are on the shelf, and we can also start to assemble the kits from previously produced components, and on the next day ship these kits, and we can repeat these steps for a few days. So for a kit bank, it means that by day 1 or 2 after kit bank mobilization, the kits are at the gate factory and ready to dispatch. Other option here is Reagent bank. So it means that we will start from previously qualified and controlled raw material that will be maintained on stock. So the difficulty here is not that we have not only one component to produce, but 9 components, different components to produce and quality control before releasing the kits. So for instance, for the plate, we'll be starting from concentrated antigen. There is also a picture missing here, no, doesn't matter. Then to produce the plates, and the process takes 2 to 3 days. For other components like the conjugate, we will start also from a mother solution that had been previously produced, controlled, and that we will dilute directly before filling and labeling the bottles. And the same also for all other the liquid components that are produced in this kind of big tanks, and that will undergo the same process until the bottle. So in that case, in case of a Reagent bank mobilization process, then on day 1 we will start to prepare the production lines and ingredients, and we'll start the production as soon as day 2. The filling, labeling, and packaging can be initiated as soon as the first components are quality controlled. So that's why here there will be quality control during several days, because there are also intermediate quality control before the last quality control, that is a control of all the components together, meaning the batch release. In the meantime, we will be preparing the shipping documents. So we do have a team of around 10 people that are used to ship kits all over the world, and that are very familiar with all the custom clearance procedures and so on. So in that case, it means that by day 6, after the notification, the first kits produced following that process can be at the factory gate. So here is a sum up of the different alternatives. So in case of ready-to-use kits, of course, the kits can also be kept on the testing site. In that case, well, you can choose between different formats, and in that case, you have also to take into account the expiry date, that is 18 months from the fabrication date. Same conditions for kits that would be stored at IDVET. The only difference is that there will be the shipment delay. So in general, in Europe, it's day +1. And all the kits are shipped at ambient temperature and don't require any environment control. Same conditions for ready-to-ship components that are stored at IDVET following internal procedures. The only difference is that we can assemble kits not only in 5 or 10 plates kits, but also bulk that allow to save time, but also boxes, so it's also good for the planet. And for the last option, meaning producing kit from validated raw materials, then the expiry date is not any longer a question, because in that case, we suppose that the kits are going to be used in a quite rapid delay. So in the three options, in the three first options, oops, okay, I mentioned the expiry date, and just to focus here on kit stability, that is also an important factor to take into account when talking about banks and reserves. So for each new product at IDVET, we are performing stability studies, mainly by using the accelerated aging method. But we are also performing real-time stability, and also there is a question of the kit performance during the stability. That is a different matter than the stability by itself. So I will illustrate this kit stability with a study we did on the 3ABC and SP ELISA, but we could have taken any other of the SP ELISAs. So we took kits in their box, and kits were stored either at 4 degrees, that is the prescribed temperature, storage temperature, but also at 21 degrees. So the kits were tested with defined panel of samples, the kit controls, negative samples, positive samples, and one limit sample. Tested at different months, from 0 to 18 months. So here are the results. Here you have in blue the positive control, in red the negative control, the limit control, and the negative samples in orange. As you can see here, at 4 degrees, even after 18 months, the kits have still good activity with a normal OD value of the controls. And here you do have the optical density, and here on the graph you have the transformed results with a sample to negative control ratio, meaning the standardized results. And you can see that the results are very stable along the time. So after 18 months at 4 degrees, first all the runs were validated, and all the samples gave results in accordance with the expected status. And even at 21 degrees here, you can see that after 18 months, the run was still validated because the optical density of the negative control was higher than 0.7. That is a run validation criteria. And when we look at the transform results, the results look also perfectly nice, even for the limit sample, meaning that the analytical sensitivity remains constant along the time, and that is one of the most important things. So a few other elements to take into consideration. The number of testing sites, that is very important, because it will impact the organization of our shipping services. So do we have to ship the kit to one dispatching to one site, and then the site will dispatch the kits, or do we have to send directly the kits to different labs in the country? Of course, the number of expected samples has to be taken into account. This is linked to the lab throughput, but it's also important because within the first day, it means that we will be able to use only the kits and the components that have been produced. The lab workflow should also be carefully studied, and particularly the bottleneck steps that are very often the washing steps. So we are offering also different washing machines, and this solution as well that is not a very modern solution, but very fast, cheap, and efficient. This is a semi-automatic, but also semi-manual washing system, and it worked very well. Be careful with the automatic washer, because washings are very often a critical step, very important to ensure results consistency. If automates are used, then you have to be sure that the reagents are stable when you will put them in a reservoir. So that's the case for all our reagents. Even the conjugate is stable more than 24 hours at room temperature. If you use an automate or a washer, you will probably need more volumes of some reagents. So we are offering for free these complementary reagents, such as buffers or wash solution. So we do have state-of-the-art production facilities that allows us to have high production and storage capacity. And we are currently building new facilities that will be dedicated to production, storage, and shipping. And this is not only a draw, this is becoming reality. The building will be ready in 2019. We do have, of course, an internal contingency plan implemented to ensure that we will be able to continuously produce the kits. We are ISO 2001 certified. So as a conclusion, we offer a flexible, customized, and efficient solution to help countries defining the contingency plan best suited for their need, and to ensure that reagent supply is sufficient and on time. And I hope to be on time as well. Thank you for your attention.
Sorry, Luigi, there is no time for questions.